The mighty Ottoman Empire, a vast force sweeping across the world. They were unstoppable, their armies were immense, their hunger for conquest insatiable. In their path lay the Principality of Wallachia, a small, defiant land in their way. The Ottomans sought to crush it. But Wallachia had a protector, a prince whose very name struck terror into the hearts of men. He was Vlad III, known as Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Dracula. Vlad Dracula was no ordinary ruler. He was a warrior born. He was a master of strategy, and he was utterly ruthless. He would become a nightmare for the Ottomans. His name would be whispered in hushed tones in the palaces of Constantinople. He was the only man who dared to stand against the might of the Ottoman Empire, and he would make them pay in blood. Vlad Dracula's life was forged in conflict. The son of Vlad Dracul, ruler of Wallachia, he was held hostage by the Ottomans as a child. This experience hardened him. It taught him the art of war. It also instilled in him a deep hatred for the Ottoman Empire. In 1456, Vlad seized the throne of Wallachia. His rule was one of iron. He was determined to make Wallachia strong, to break free from Ottoman influence. But strength, he believed, was born from fear. He imposed his will with an iron fist. Criminals and enemies met brutal ends. Impalement, a gruesome and agonizing death, became his signature. This was no mere cruelty, though it was certainly cruel. It was calculated. It was psychological warfare. Vlad understood the power of fear. He knew how to exploit it. Impalement was his weapon of terror. A gruesome spectacle meant to break his enemies before they even reached the battlefield. Imagine a vast field, the air thick with the stench of death. Thousands of stakes rise from the ground, each bearing its grisly burden. The impaled victims of Vlad's wrath writhe in agony, their screams a chilling symphony of pain and despair. This was the fate that awaited any who dared to defy Vlad the Impaler. This was the image seared into the minds of the Ottoman soldiers, an image they could not escape, an image that would haunt their dreams and break their resolve. The year 1462. Sultan Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople, led a vast army into Wallachia. He sought to crush Vlad and add his lands to the Ottoman Empire. Mehmed was confident. His army outnumbered Vlad's forces many times over, but Vlad had a plan. He would not fight a conventional battle. He would use his knowledge of the land and his mastery of terror to his advantage. One night, under the cover of darkness, Vlad launched a daring raid on the Ottoman camp. This was the night attack. Wallachian soldiers, their faces blackened for camouflage, descended upon the unsuspecting Ottomans. Chaos reigned. The Ottomans, caught off guard, were slaughtered in their tents. Their fear was palpable. The night attack was a devastating blow to Ottoman morale, but Vlad was not finished. He employed scorched earth tactics. He retreated before the Ottoman advance, burning villages and poisoning wells as he went. He left nothing for the enemy but ash and despair. The Ottoman army, already demoralized, began to starve. Disease spread through their ranks. Their advance slowed to a crawl. They were facing a foe unlike any they had ever encountered, a foe who fought not with brute force but with cunning and terror. Vlad the Impaler's reign of terror was ultimately short-lived. He was betrayed by his allies and imprisoned by the Hungarians. But his legend lived on. His brutal tactics, while abhorrent, had saved Wallachia from Ottoman conquest. He became a folk hero, a symbol of resistance against tyranny. Over time, Vlad's story became intertwined with the burgeoning vampire myth. His taste for blood, real and imagined, transformed him into a creature of the night. Bram Stoker drew heavily on the legend of Vlad Dracula when he created his iconic vampire, and so the Impaler of Wallachia became Dracula, the world's most famous monster. Vlad the Impaler was a complex and controversial figure, a ruthless tyrant who was also a courageous defender of his people. He was a master of psychological warfare who used fear as his weapon, and he was a man who inspired both terror and admiration. His legacy, like his life, is a study in contrasts.